going to do permutation sets, and we're going to keep this theme going of doing it in our head. Here I have typical hands for your regular old rock beat, right? Here I've got two bass drums. Everybody knows how to play this. So what we're going to do is a permutation set. That means that this note is going to move. It's going to move from here, the and of 1, to beat 2, from beat 2 to the and of 2, from beat the and of 2 to 3, to 4, to the and of 3, to 4, to the and of 4. The really key part about this is that I'm going to do this all in my head. Show you what I mean. 1, 2, number 1, here we go. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Okay, again, not rocket science. That's not the point. We're not going for crazy difficult. We're going for being able to hear all of your subdivisions, feel all of your subdivisions in your head. I tell a lot of beginner students, I'll have them reading out of books for a while, and then we'll get to a song, and I won't write it down. And they'll say, well, why don't you write it down? And I'm like, because whatever, Green Day, Nirvana, Chili Peppers, they don't write drum charts for their songs. You know, you're only going to read drum music really in a drum lesson. Reading drum music is just good for learning new concepts, but most of the drummers that you watch, I mean, I'd say probably almost all of the drummers that are out there, we don't read drum notation like this outside of drum lessons. So in addition to practicing out of books, you need to practice outside of books. You know, you need to be able to do exercises that are we'll get to that. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about in a larger subject today, but you need to be able to practice in sort of a scientific way outside of the books, and that means you got to take the training wheels off and do something like permutating this note through the measure without looking at it, seeing it in your head, hearing what the ands of all these different beats sound like. Okay, so that's probably easy for most beginners. Let's step it up. Let's go up another level. Now, I'm going to move that note by 16th notes. So instead of going from the and of 1, well, let's start a little bit more correctly then. Now, I'm going to start it on the E of 1, and if I were doing this completely, I would go from the E to the and to the ah to the 2. But just for the sake of time, I'm just going to go from E to ah to E to ah to E to ah to E to ah. Make sense? I'm just going to do everything twice. Again, in your head. Got to be able to do this in your head. Don't write it down. All right, 1 E and a 2 E and a. Here we go. And move it. Move it. Sorry, that was 4. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Pretty cool, right? Good little exercise. Some people do better seeing the picture of this in their head. If that works for you, if it's better to actually see this in your mind, do that. If it's better for you to count out all the subdivisions, 1e into 2e into 3e into 4e into, do it. There's no right or wrong way to learn this stuff. You think about learning new ideas as you're learning a map. It's not like math. I'm not teaching you a new formula here. I'm showing you a new location on the map, and it's up to you to memorize how to get to that location. So treat new stuff like this, new concepts like this, like you're in a foreign land and you're trying to navigate to knowledge. However you get there is how you get there. And that's what you're trying to almost kind of hack. You're trying to hack your brain and say, how quickly can I get this into my mind? Okay. Still in beginner territory. There's a couple things we can do to step this up to make it a little bit more complicated. Number one is we can add a note. Sorry for my neighbors if you guys hear them. Shared space. It's actually been getting a lot more busy around here, which is it's nice. It's nice to hear other people. It gets a little lonely around here sometimes. I feel like people are starting to come back to their drum kits after a long 2 months of hiding. All right, so you can add another note, and we can move two notes at the same time. So that's the E and the the E and the ah. And then you could say either we just move from the E and ah of 2 to the E and ah of 1 to the E and ah of 2 to the E and ah of 3, or you could say it goes from like E and ah to ah E to E ah to ah E. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Let's just move it we'll just move these two a quarter note at a time. So it'll go the E and ah of 1, the E and ah of 2, the E and ah of 3, the E and ah of 4. 1, 2, ready, go. Move it. Move it. Move it. Other things you can do. Change what your sticking pattern is. We can do 16th notes. Move it. Move it. Move it. Still sort of in intermediate territory. Let's do a couple more things to step this up. What if, instead of permutating just the bass drum, what if we permutated a whole thing like a paradiddle? What if this itself was what we're going to permutate? Okay, so we've got paradiddle, which is typically would be right, left, right, right. Now our kick is our right, so that's right, left, right, right. Okay, and then when it's on beat 2, it would be left, right, left, left, right. And then beat 3 would be right, left, right, right. And then 4 would be... Okay, so we're going to move this whole paradiddle from here to here to here to here. When it moves from here, I'm going to leave a kick on beat 1, okay? Let's do this 4 times each. If anybody's lost, just let me know. I can explain this stuff to death. 1E into 2E into, here we go, and... Move it. Move it. Move it. Pretty cool, right? How can we make this even more advanced? How can we? Let's use a grid. I mean, that's what this is. It's all the same thing. Grids, permutation, moving, syncopation, it's all the same thing. We've got an A, and we're moving it through B's. A is on 1, it moves to 2, moves to 3, moves to 4, right? Well, what if our B's were regular paradiddles? What if A is, let's say, well, let's do A is a regular paradiddle, first inversion, and then our B's are second inversion paradiddles. For those of you not familiar with the paradiddle inversions, we've got right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Then we shift everything. So you've got right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. Okay, so if there were not an A here, it would be all right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. And again, this is between our kick and our snare, so it'd be... right? But we are going to move a regular paradiddle, right, left, right, right, through those B's. So I'm going to start with all B's and then put my A in and move it. Okay? So all B's would be... right? And my A's are... This is actually, when I'm working on really kind of more advanced stuff, I usually start like that. I'll start with, 4 of A and 4 of B, then I'll maybe go down to 2 of A and B, just so I can really get comfortable switching. And then once you feel ready, jump into the permutation set. So I'm going to start with 4 B's, then I'm going to drop the A in. We'll do each one 4 times, move it from beat 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Ready? 1 E and a 2, all B's, here we go, and... here we go. Move it. Cool. You guys following? So this concept of permutation, I can't take credit for it. I first learned it from a book called Future Sounds by David Garibaldi, who, again, I got to tell you guys, people sleep on David Garibaldi. He's so nasty. Just go on YouTube and watch some videos of the dude. He is just nasty. But he's got a book called Future Sounds that has lots of really advanced permutation sets, and he permutates everything by 16th notes. It's brutal. It literally broke me down and turned me into a new person. But years later, I was like, well, why don't I do this stuff just simpler and with bigger subdivisions? And once you kind of get it and you can integrate it and you can just do it, it doesn't have to be complicated. You could start with just... right? That's your A, that's your B. As long as you can grasp it conceptually, you just step up, maybe add 2 notes. Now your A is, and your B is, right? So A, B, B, B. Doesn't have to be complicated. The goal is for you to be able to do this in your head and gradually work your way up to more complicated stuff. And then, of course, once I'm not really playing with dynamics, I'm not really playing with speed. It's not about doing lots of these exercises. It's about doing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and just focusing in and then zooming in and starting to make them sound musical. So I could take just one of those. Let's say I want to do B, B, A, B. So that's... And then I just want to sit on that groove, take it fast, take it slow, take it quiet, take it side stick, take it ride. I could play it on my floor tom. Right? There's just infinite variations that you can get into really quickly. So I'm just going to kind of explore that, just what I would do. That's cool. See right there. Okay, right there. That is why I practice. I don't want to practice stuff I'm just good at. I want to put myself in a situation, get an idea, and go, oh, I can't do that. Then I slow down. So... sloppy, right? But you get the point. I find my weaknesses, I zoom in, and I practice them. All right, does everybody understand that? Did I lose anybody? Does anybody not quite get how a permutation set works? I do have a video already. I know it's on the Instagram channel. I think it's on the YouTube channel as well, called What is Permutation? Or it's everything I just said, just more examples of it. So if you need more help on it, just check out that video or shoot me a DM or whatever. And I'd be happy to give you some exercises and some examples.